Hey everybody, this is Logan Holdaway with Shepherd's Branding, and today I want to show you how to create something like this, a 3D object, a text set within the background of the image. So we've got the 3D object of lawn set within the lawn, so it actually looks like it's sitting in the lawn. So in order to do this, first of all, you're going to want to head over to pexels.com. Pexels.com is a great place to find free stock images, and you can download this image. I just searched for, what was it? Lawn is what I searched for, and I was able to pull up this image right here. And then, after you've downloaded that image, you're going to want to go ahead and open up your Inkscape. And a few things that you're going to want to do before we get started in Inkscape is you're going to want to go to View, go to Custom. That opens up another menu up here at the top that we're going to be using. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to go ahead and drag my image into our Inkscape document, and it has embed or link. Doesn't really matter which. Embed simply means that it's actually placed within the image. Link means that what's going to happen is it's going to link to where it is within your file. So if you move it in your files at any time, then that image is no longer going to show up. You're going to have to import it again. So I like to use embed. So we're going to go ahead and embed that image. And with that, then, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to create and edit objects. You can use F8 or T in order to get that. And I'm going to zoom in here. I'm just going to go ahead and type the word lawn in all caps. Make it white by clicking down here. And then I can hit F1, or I can go ahead and select and transform objects. So F1. And holding Shift and Control, I'm going to size this up to where I want it to be. And that looks about right. So then I'm going to go ahead and go to Path, Object to Path. What that does, if you hold over it with your Edit Paths by Node tool, then you can see that it's no longer text. It's no longer recognized as text. It's actually recognized as paths. But these are 3 or 4 separate paths. Each letter is a separate path, and they're grouped together. In order to ungroup them, what you can do is you can do this ungroup here at the top, or Control-Shift-G. That ungroups them, and then you can go to Path Union. Okay, and I'm going to hit F1 to get back to this tool, Select and Transform Objects tool. And I'm going to right-click and duplicate that and turn this copy red, and we're going to send it down just one step and move this over. I'm going to zoom in here so I can get this positioned correctly. Move this over just like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have my enable snapping on, and I'm going to turn on 2 of these. The ones I'm going to turn on are snap to intersection, or snap paths to intersection, and snap to cusp nodes. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to demonstrate it, and then I'm going to pause the video and just finish up so you're not sitting there watching me for a while. We're going to grab our Bezier tool right here. You can hit B on the keyboard in order to grab that as well. And you're just going to go ahead and draw a rectangle around everywhere where you see red. Everywhere where you see red. Just like this. Including down here. And it actually will snap to that node even though it's behind this object right here. And the reason why we have snap to intersection is because, as you're going to see right here, there's no cusp node for it to snap on, so it's actually snapping on this intersection between the white and the red. Going to do this one, snap to intersection, snap to cusp node, Sometimes it's hard to get them right where you want them to be, so it takes a minute of time. Alright, so you guys got the hang of what I'm going to do here, and I'm going to be doing this for everything that you see here, all of the red area. You know what, I actually did this one wrong. You want to make a rectangle here. There we go. So you're going to do this to the entire object. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and finish up with that. Alright, at this point you can see that I have gone over this entire object here. And at this point what I can do is I can get my select and transform objects right here. And I'm going to go ahead and hold Shift and Alt, select this object, and then click it again. And you can see that I've got the white object, and then I can click it again, and you can see I've got the red object. You can keep on clicking it until you have the red object. You'll know that you have because your fill is going to be red, and hit delete on your keyboard. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take all of these objects that are facing up like this. Let's see, yeah, there's this one down here. We're going to take off the stroke by holding Shift and clicking this X. By the way, you can see what keystrokes and mouse clicks I'm using by this little dialog down here. And then I'm going to use this right here and make all of those about 40% gray for right now. We'll just play around with that. And I'm going to, I don't want to unify those actually. I'm going to go Control G. I like using the keyboard shortcuts. They really help out a lot. And then what we're going to do is get all of the rest of these that are facing the other direction here on this side. And we're going to go ahead, make those about 10%, take off the stroke. And it looks like I missed this guy right here. Control G, and I'm going to go ahead and I can grab my dropper tool by hitting D on my keyboard and just go ahead and make that object just like the rest of them. Take off the stroke just like that, and then holding Shift I have to grab my select objects and transforms tool first again. Hold Shift and I can group those together just like that. Okay, so now let's go ahead. I'm going to make this a little bit better so that the colors or the shading looks a little bit better on this. So on the top here, I want to make this a little bit lighter. On the sides, I want to make this just a little bit darker. Just like that. That looks about good right there. So with that then, you can see that the L is in front of the A. We don't want that, so we can send this down a couple steps until it's down at the bottom or below the A. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start drawing in the grass right here. And the way that we're going to do is we're going to grab the Bezier tool right here. You can hit B on your keyboard in order to do that. And we're going to go ahead and take off the enable snapping right here. We don't want that on. It can mess us up if we do this. And what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a zigzag all the way across the bottom of this. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with that just to show you what I'm doing, and then I'll stop the video and you can finish up, because that kind of takes a little while because we're making small zigzags. We don't want them to be very long because grass is by nature very thin. So we want these guys to be kind of small. Another thing that you're going to do is you're going to want them to be at about the same height all the way across so that the grass looks even all the way across the image. So just like that. And I'm going to right click on that and that just makes it so that I can stop where I'm doing, and then I can pick back up again by clicking right here, and then I'll finish this up while I have the video paused. Alright, I have finished up making this zigzag line all the way across the bottom of this image. Something that you'll want to do as you're doing this is to not worry about any area like this where there aren't any letters. You don't need to worry about those areas because it doesn't matter if there's a zigzag there. But then what you're going to do with your Bezier tool, once again, if you hover it over it, you'll get a red box over this node at the end here. Click onto that. That allows you to continue on with what you were doing. And then go ahead and just draw a box down at the bottom of that. That makes this into one object right here. So now what we can do is I can hold Control and zoom out on my mouse wheel. And what I'm going to do is grab my transform objects and click on just the image, and Control D allows you to duplicate the background of the image. And I'm going to send that down just one. And with that then, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select this and select the background and right click and set clip. So now what you can see is we've got our zigzag pattern is actually forming the grass down here at the bottom. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and make kind of a little bit of a shadow in here. And I'll show you how we're going to do this. So what we can do is we can right click this and we can duplicate it just like that. You'll know that you have a duplicated copy because you can pull it away. I can Control Z and put that back into place. And what we're going to do is we're going to release that clip, and we can go ahead and delete that right here. What we're going to do is fill this in with any color, doesn't really matter what color it is. Take off the stroke. And we're going to go ahead and drag over all of these nodes at the top here. You have to have it selected. Drag over all these nodes. And then what you can do is, oh wait, you know what, before we do that, I want to do something else. I want to just duplicate this. So Control D, and we'll make this copy just purple. Doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and send it down one step. And then what we can do is drag over that and zoom in, and holding Control you can pull this up, and this is what we want. We want to be able to just see this purple area right here at the top. That's all that we want to remain. So what we're going to do is transform objects. You can hit F1 on the keyboard if you want. We've got the purple one selected. Let's hold Shift on the keyboard, select the gray one as well, and go to Path, Intersection. Excuse me, whoops. That's not what I want to do. Let me grab both of those again and go to Path, Difference. Just like that. So now we just have this purple area here at the top. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab the lawn object as well as these ones right here. And we're going to duplicate those ones right like that, Control D. And I'm going to Control Shift G on the keyboard in order to ungroup those and go to Path, Union. Control Shift G, there we go. Now go to Path, Union. And holding Shift, I'm going to have the purple one selected as well and go to Path, Intersection. So now what that does is we only have the purple area where the letters are. And we can make that black. Clicking on this fill right down here brings up this dialog, and we can go ahead and increase the blur about 1 or 2. I'll just do 1 and put it down a step just like that. So what that does is it gives us this blur along the bottom right here, just where that is. That didn't turn out quite as well as I would have liked it to tell you the truth. It's turned out a little bit better in the past, but it's alright. It gives you a good idea of what that looks like. The last thing that we can do is we can hit Shift G on the keyboard while having the lawn selected, and I'm going to hold Control, bring this down, take the alpha channel up just like this. I can make this just a little bit darker and double click on the gradient, bring that down just a little bit, and that gives just a little bit more the idea of a shadow there. And that's about it. So now say you're done with this and you want to go ahead and export it. So in order to do that, what you're going to want to do is you can take a rectangle and just draw it over your object, however big of an area you want this to be. And then what we're going to do is, let's see, we can go to opacity down here, drop that in half, and go to File, Document Properties, Resize Page to Content, and Resize Page to Drawing or Selection. What that does is the rectangle that you will see when you open up Inkscape, it's kind of your viewing area, it's your page document size. It makes it so it's the size of this rectangle here. We can exit out of that. And the reason why that's important, you can go ahead and keep this, you can send it down to the bottom so that you can reference it later and adjust that size as you want to by clicking on this and holding Control and Alt, selecting. That's how you grab that, and then you can make it as big or small as you want. I'm going to Control Z that. But now, if I go Control Shift E, I can do the same thing by going File, Export PNG Image. You can see the keyboard shortcut is Control Shift E. What I can do is go to Export As. I always export everything to my Downloads folder because I export a lot of documents. If I save all of them, then it's just way too much clutter on my computer. So everything gets exported to my documents or to my Downloads folder and then eventually deleted after I'm done with the exportation of it. Then I'm just going to go ahead and name this whatever I want. Let's go ahead and go to lawn.png. You always want to end with .png. Save, and let's go ahead and hit page. Export area is the page, and that's the rectangle that of the selected area we had before. And then you can export, and you can set how large the image you want it to be right here. In this case, it's 1060 at 350.7 dpi. That's fine. And we can export, I've already got one that I did before that's the same file name. That's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and replace it. And then I can open that up, and there it is right there. That's our exported image of what we just created. So that's how you do that in Inkscape. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask in the comments. If you have any suggested videos, you can also request those in the comments. Thanks for watching. This is Logan Holdaway with Shepherd's Branding.